Hello and welcome to the next episode of Donkey Kong 94 for Game Boy Nintendo Classics. So this will be World 3. And one thing that's happened recently was I've recently had my birthday. I'm not going to say when, because then that gives my day of birthday and I don't want to feel that. So, I got my birthday recently. Now, thing is, it's been at least a couple weeks since I've recorded. So that could be anywhere in 2 weeks, won't it, Wayne? Oh, crap. Of course wouldn't, but like, so, what have I been doing, like? So, for my birthday, I decided I got some books. These were large print copies. These of the, oh, come on, Mario. Of the Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. So that is both of the Mark Twain classics, so the Adventures of Tom Sawyer and the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn as one book. Then I also got an illustrated novel version that is also large print, and then a Greatest Adventures one of Sherlock Holmes books. So like, you've got the 4 novels, okay, level B, you've got the 4 novels, that's one book with illustrations on top of it, and then in the book actually, because like the other large print books I've got, they don't have illustrations unfortunately. So, I talked about studying Scarlet last time. So, with Sign 4, it starts out in a way that I won't explain, because I thought Sherlock was conducting a chemistry experiment. That was my initial thoughts of it. And then Watson actually explains what it is. Well, he doesn't. He says, what will it be this time? And then it states 2 things, which I will not explain what those 2 things are. If you've read the book, you've read the book and know. If you don't, you don't. Simply because those 2 things are not family-friendly things. You probably know about them if you're educated. You probably learn about those kind of things in PSHE lessons as a teenager, like I did. But you wouldn't be a child and probably know about them. It'd be very unlikely for a child to know what those things are. So, it starts out like that. And then, the next thing that happens, next thing that happens comes along, and so this woman, Miss Morgan, I think that's her name if I remember correctly. Well, she comes along, and come on, back, please. Well, she comes along, and oh, don't skip, good. So she comes along, and what happens is Sherlock is with Watson. He completely falls in love with her. This can be inferred from the dialogue after between Watson and Sherlock, with Watson saying about how attractive Miss Morgan looked, and Sherlock says, "Was she? I did not observe." And then this turns to then Watson calling him inhuman, which personally I think is a bit harsh on Sherlock's on the receiving end of that, just because you don't find the same person attractive. Because it kind of basically shows how two people won't find the same one person attractive. One of them might, in this case Dr. Watson, the other one might not. Got it. But like, we don't need to do this all, we don't need to do every single, what's it? I can't remember. We don't need to do every single bonus thing. Anyway, back to, sign 4. Then, Miss Morgan explains about these random polls she's been receiving over the years after her father died. After her father disappeared and is later presumed dead. And Sherlock and Watson presumably dead. So anyway, what then happens after that is they then decide to go and ask about they decide to go and ask they then decide to go and ask an Indian man, or someone, I think he's of Indian heritage or something like that, as in from India, done! Anyway, he's of Indian heritage. He started to explain his whole story about how him and his brother Bartholomew, cuts in here. About how him and his brother Bartholomew both, double hand. Anyway, he explains the, story of how him and his brother Bartholomew found his treasure one night after their father left it to them, kind of thing. It's one of those, we got this heritage, thing, is their father was in like the army or something, I can't really remember that part of it. Okay, back away, good. Oh! So anyway, what then happened? Oh! So anyway, what then happens afterwards is they then decide to to go over to Bartholomew's place to visit him, and then it turns out Bartholomew has been murdered by someone, and they don't know who, but he has been murdered by someone of some sort. Well, not some sort, that's a bad word. Oh! Ah! That's a bad word to describe for him, but Bartholomew's been murdered. So, now that you know he's murdered, Sherlock then starts hunting around the place for things, because it could point to the murder. And then, afterwards, he finds out, number one, the first guy number one came through, the window roof thing. Anyway, the brother himself, the one that didn't die, is taken away because one of the official policemen, Mr. whatever, can't remember the name, he thinks that the brother had murdered Bartholomew. Oh, dead. Had murdered Bartholomew. So anyway, what then happens after this? Just check and see if driving. Yep. And what then happens is they then decide to afterwards oh yeah, they take Watson takes Miss Morgan home, and then after that, what then happens is Watson then goes to get a dog called Toby, and Sherlock writes something in front of Toby's nose to get the scent, to get him to know scent. So they then go off, fight, and Toby goes down these load of lanes and finds this barrel. Out of the 2 scents, Toby accidentally picked the wrong one, so they go the other way to the right scent. They go the other way to so they go back and then to the correct scent. So after they go to the correct scent, Sherlock calls in the Baker Street irregulars, which he used. These are I think again, if I remember correctly, of 6 homeless children who live on the streets around London. But Sherlock employs them to gather information. For them to gather information. So, well, actually gets a lot of information about this boat. Basically, he's just asking this woman, and he's pretending to be slightly interested, but not too interested to kind of let her know that the information's of any value. Anyway, boss fight. But what then happens is dead. Well, anyway, what then happens is he then decides to that's why I said to play the 3 regulars off one. Finding the boat. Finding like this boat that sets sail somewhere that might be helpful to solving the case. Oh, right. So anyway, and then the what's the name? The Baker Street regulars. That's them. And so anyway, Baker Street regulars. They then what they oh they then did they then went out the door, and that's as far as the bed. Oh, whoops. So far. Oh, perfect. That's as far as the bed so far, and anyway, for my birthday, I also got Wicked for Good, and we beat DK. Anyway, beat DK, because I watched the original Wicked in preparation for Wicked for Good, and I've got Wicked for Good DVD, which I hope to watch before either summer holidays, no, Easter holidays, before I have to go back like work and stuff. There you go. So anyway, that's that world cleared. And also, I'm just going to say, on the Saturday, I'm going to go and watch the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Now, I have played and beat both Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 in advance for watching the film, and I've watched the original film with someone I know, because they hadn't seen it. Anyway, bye.